So I'm going to do talk about the CUTgroup, the Civic User Testing Group. Has anybody ever heard of this thing? If you have, raise your hand. Awesome. Okay, just some level setting. Hello. So, agenda. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal journey. Everybody has one? Everybody has one of those, too, right? I mean, that is a smoking sweater right there. Because I really appreciate the history of technology. One of the things I'm really down with is we have to know our own history, right? All of us here work in technology, and a lot of times we think we invented, something, and it's really exciting. That's a good thing. It's good to feel excited. But there is such a thing as the history of technology, and it's actually really important to know and to document, what happened. So it's the first time I've been here. I've been at this for a while, so I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. Smart Chicago itself, our organization, and then just the CUTgroup. And this is the way our book is oriented. It's actually a book. I have a physical object as well. And we brought a few, if anybody wants one. But this is it. It's an actually printed book. This thing was actually made on a copy machine. But we have lots of books. So that's what we'll do. So my personal journey, I've been working on the web exclusively and generated all of the money that I make to feed myself and my family since June 15, 1998. I told you I'm into history. But also it's the day after Michael Jordan sunk his last shot against Seattle. So obviously everybody knows that date. It was Monday, June 15, 1998. Anybody here from Seattle? Okay, sorry. I made my first Civic app in 1999. When I say made, obviously I worked with other people because nobody really does anything by themselves in this business, which I really appreciate. But if anybody remembers WAP, Wireless Application Protocol, it was a cool thing, right? And it was just coming out into general use on phones, and I was like, wow. So I was a web project manager-y type person, and I was like, what cannot wait until I get back to my desk for email? I was trying to think of the most compelling answer, and of course the answer is, it's a killer on the loose. If there's someone who has killed somebody and they might kill you, you would want to know, right? That's something that you would want to know before you get back to your desk. And I'm actually not kidding. So we created this thing, killerontheloose.com, and we said if you signed up, we'd let you know if someone had killed somebody near you, and they might kill you. And and all we did was just monitor CNN and then do it. And it actually worked a couple times. And this was just a comp for it. I couldn't find the actual website. I let the website lapse after 9/11. It became a very unfunny sort of thing to me, right? Because there actually were killers on the loose, and we had to get them. So I've worked with some developers, and I'm really, I'm not a very technical person, but this is really important to me, the developers are it, right? Everybody's always looking for a developer. Everybody's sitting around waiting for Godot or a really smart person to do stuff. So I've been lucky enough to work with people like Adrian Hollabody, the creator of Django, and Paul Smith, who was one of the people who saved healthcare.gov, and Kevin Goldstein, who was one of the baseball prospectus people with Nate Silver, and really great people, and it's really informed what I'm up to. My friend Harper, who did I did CTA alerts with him. If anybody's ever used that, has anybody ever heard of this thing, CTA alerts, from the mid-2000s? I did that with this guy. I took him over to CTA. I helped out with the 8 Principles of Open Government Data in about 2007 with Tim O'Reilly, and this was organized by Karl Malamute. And it was a really kind of turned out being an essential sort of component in the open data movement because we just sat down and made a list of the things that we would construe as being open data. And it was helpful because I was at Everyblock. I helped start this website called everyblock.com that was local news and public information. It was one of the first websites that used public data. And things got easier after that, because I would go and call mayors and ask them for all of their building permits, and they would, not know what the hell I was talking about. And then after this, it was easier to talk to them. We did this thing in Chicago called IGOTF, Independent Government Observers Task Force, in 2008 with Karl Malamute. Karl Malamute is an awesome legend in our field, who had a lot to do with early internet radio, and is just a very, very good crazy person who does things like scans building codes from San Jose and liberates them. All right, so that's enough of that. But again, I find that to be like it's prefatory to what we're up to, and I run this thing called Smart Chicago. Every time I do any presentation, I always have to have this because it's really easy to have a mission statement or some principles or some 5-point goals or 3-point plan or whatever the hell people do and put it on your website and forget about it. This is how we live, and so I have to say it every time we talk. We're about our principles about technology, open, everyone in Chicago. We focus on technology because that's our frame. That's what we care about. We have to be open, and obviously people here are down with open, right? GitHub is sort of the primary way of being open and sharing code. We dig that, and we have tons of code that we make, and a lot of you here have made a lot of that code with us. We're also about open processes. Being open to, like this group. This group is a very open group. They publish the meeting, and anybody can come, and it's those processes are really important to us as well. Everyone, one thing I've learned in nonprofit and philanthropy work here in Chicago is that people are really tightly focused on something, whether it's a geographic group or a socioeconomic sector, and that makes them effective, I've learned. That's a really good thing. But I think that it's important that, in technology, obviously, it's the network that matters. It's the network that makes it powerful. It's the inclusion. It's the being about everyone. And of course, we're about Chicago. We do our work here, but we're also, we try to be helpful nationally as a model for some of this kind of work. So what we're up to is just access, skills, and data. Access to the internet, skills once you're on the internet, and data. And data is this part, right? Which is like, let's make apps, let's do civic hacking. We really find these other prefatory things. If you don't have access to the internet, you will not be able to be in the game. If you cannot use the internet once you have access to it, you're still not in the game. So we really are able to focus on those things. We're founded by the MacArthur Foundation, the Chicago Community Trust, which is where I and Sonia work at, and then the City of Chicago itself is also one of our founding members, and I work with them and take direction from them. All right, so let's get into this thing, the CUTgroup. The Civic User Testing Group is a set of regular Chicago residents who get paid to test Civic apps. It's a really simple concept, but it's the origins are based in my experience as a technologist and a person hanging out and doing stuff with smart people and finding it lacking, finding the impact. I mean, lacking. I worked on Everyblock, which is widely known to in some circles as a really important website. And I'm here to tell you that we were not that impactful on human lives. We were in 16 cities. Our traffic was not mind-blowing. Okay, and you may remember when the site was closed down, there was a lot of lamentation about that, especially here in Chicago. It was not a high-performing website, and it was if it's not a popular website, it's hard for it to be of great impact, of mass impact. We know lots of websites, lots of pieces of technology that have mass impact on the world. I don't have to name them, right? We just look at any tech press. I seek to make mass impact. The only way to make mass impact is to be massively popular. So I've been at it for a while, and I've really never made anything massively popular. I make some nice things, but we have to do better. I have to do better. So that's why I was convinced we have to hang out with real people. We have to get deeper. We have to find out what people like. This is block and tackle technology stuff. I know a lot of you work at tech companies. There's no effective tech company in the world that can't live without doing UX testing, without asking their users what they like, what they don't like. You know, this is the most common thing in the technology world, and I haven't seen it a lot in this space that I've been in for a while. And we did this thing called the Illinois Open Technology Challenge, where we did like greenfields technology, open data stuff up and down the state. Belleville, Illinois, Champaign, Rockford, South Suburban Mayors and Manors Association. It's 42 municipalities in the south suburbs. So we did a ton of work there, and we had good prizes, like $15,000 in prizes for someone who came up with an app that served Rockford for each one of those places. We couldn't get people to show up. We could get developers to show up. We did all right. But we would let anybody in, you know, anybody would show up to one of these meetings. If you get on a team and you submit and you win, you get a share of $15,000. It's not a little bit of money. I could not get, we were on TV, we did advertising. We couldn't get regular people to show up. Mainly because the framing just didn't make any sense. You know, hackathon, what? It's just, so that was the real impetus. And that was in February of 2013 is when we launched. So let me talk a little bit about what it is. There's 3 components. And none of this is mind-blowing stuff. UX testing, again, this is blocking and tackle. But we do legitimate UX testing with qualitative and quantitative information. We just have, Jacob Nielsen type stuff, right? Just the most normal kind of UX testing. But I will tell you that real UX testers, are there any real UX testers here? People who have that as a subdiscipline in their lives? Real UX testers are just, they think that we're nice, but it's like they don't like us. They don't like it too much. We've asked people to help us with the methodology, and since we want the developers to be there, it's critical that the developer be in the room. That's verboten in a real UX test, right? Because they would bias the results. There's a pseudoscience that may be negative. There's a social science. There's a soft science to UX testing, but since we're into all 3 at the same time, we have an amalgam methodology. Digital skills. Digital skills, as I said, is an important component of what we do at Smart Chicago Climate. It's an important component of developing customers for your apps, of developing more people who can consume your stuff. So we have a mix of 10 to 20 people. We have 850 people in the CUTgroup. Through various ways we've gotten them, and they're all over the city. So we have a really great mix of people. We're really proud of it. We worked really hard at it, and we talk about how we did that in the book. Yep.
What's the age range?
Everybody. I don't know.
Is it up to 70?
We don't ask them how old they are, but anybody can. Yeah. It's an average.
Yeah, I would say that we do get some older people. I would say that, I don't know their exact age, but I would say in the 50s, definitely, if not a little higher.
Yeah. A couple of them are repeat. They love coming back. Older people. And they call me on my phone before the test. And oh yeah, candy.
Candy.
No, candy. Candy's a big deal. Yeah, you got to have candy. We talk about that. That's an essential component. So there's a digital skills component there. Like we did a test at Fenger High School, actually of Expungio, the Expungio app, and there were some digital skills issues with the testers, and it's just so interesting to do that, to be there with them. Then there's also digital skills on your end, on the developer end. You're learning about UX testing, about real UX testing, and learning about what's going on in the world, and learning what the inside of Fenger High School looks like. To me, that's skills for digital people. We think it's really important. Community engagement is the third component. I'm sorry. So real digital skills people, Renee, you're a real digital skills person, right? You know, like, we're not as good as you. You know what I mean? It's like you have real classes, real components, real paths to get people from, you know, point A to point B and give them real skills. We're not that good. You know what I mean? We're not that good at digital skills training either. It's a little random. There's no certifications. It's just one night, right? So we're not quite delivering on that either. Community engagement. People really like the CUTgroup. People like showing up. We have people who last January 9 on a Monday night, it was very cold. Whatever night it was. I got my dates wrong. It was very cold. We had people coming from Roseland on the bus to the Rogers Park Library. And happy about it. Like, and we had a great night. And it was 10 degrees out. It was just, you know, we knew that our incentives, you know, it's $5 to sign up and $20 for a test. We had a theory that it would work. People do like the money, but there's no accounting for that. I mean, and the distribution, if you look on our website or in the book and you see the distribution of the testers with the test location, it's bananas. It's like, it doesn't happen in this city. Like, people don't go from Roseland to Rogers Park for a community meeting. It does not happen, right? So we're really, really happy with that. And people like it. Or at least they say they do. And even though we gave them a $20 gift card, I mean, you know, they may be afraid to say they didn't like it. There goes the science part again, right? Where you know, who knows? Maybe they actually hate us and they're... but this is a good example, right? That's where the test was. This is where everybody was drawn from. You know, this was a test that we wanted to skew, right, Foodborne Chicago, that we wanted to skew toward the south side. So it is. So we can design a test, I think I talked about it, any way you want to. So the tools we use are, first of all, we have a software philosophy. I think everybody who makes software should have a software philosophy. I'm pretty adamant about it. Like, why are you doing that? Like, you should have a sentence or a page on the internet that explains why you're making software, I think, right? So with our basic software philosophy, we believe in making the smallest amount of software to be useful to the largest amount of people and connecting residents to their government, their institutions, and each other. Smallest amount of software is a really key thing for me. So we use existing stuff. We use Wufoo forms. I love Wufoo. Wufoo's amazing. Wufoo is a wonder. That's what I like to say. MailChimp for segmenting. We email them. We'll send out to 850 people and say, hey, do you meet these specific criteria that the developer wanted? And can you make it on this night? At this time. And we like doing that. We don't tell them what place it'll be at yet. And we frankly don't even know. That's one reason why we don't tell them. But we like doing it because we're like, hey, can you show up? And then 120 people say, sure, I can show up and I meet these criteria. And we'll say, okay, cool, meet you over at, Kelly Library, and they're like, what? Like, they've never heard of that before. But they show up. It's like these teeny tiny methodologies are what we've learned really make a difference. So patterns, we created some custom software that pulls all this crap together. Wufoo and MailChimp have really good APIs, and then we pull that all together and do some other mumbo-jumbo with it. We do recording, laptops, we bring our own laptops, our own iPads, we have our own Wi-Fi cards in case everything conks out like it did at Fenger. Recording equipment. The gift cards are a big deal. We did Sonia wrote a whole blog post about exactly which gift card we should use, exactly what methodology, exactly what brand, with exactly what expiration date, and in part, it's easier. It's certainly a lot easier. Turns out it's really hard to give somebody a $5 gift card. That's why you don't see a lot of $5 gift cards. There's a lot of labor associated with giving someone a $5 gift card. People freaking love $5 gift cards. Like, you're going to get a $5 gift card in the mail for filling out a simple, again, we don't ask any demographic information. We want to know about your device, you connect to the internet, how you connect the internet, and your top 2 devices for connecting the internet, and 2 weird screener questions, just to get them used to answering questions. Have you ever called 311 and did you vote in the last election? People will do it for $5. Pretest, we work with the developer. Like, whatever the developer wants to find out, we will find a set of people out of 850 who meet that. Tom Campari did Go to School, a route finding app for how to go to your new school. And last year that was a pretty big deal. That was hard. We tested it. We found him relevant people who have children who go to a public school and are personally responsible for getting them. We found him 20 people to do that. So we can segment on anything you need. Scouting for test locations. Again, it's really important for us to be all over the city. So there's some that have specific requirements, but we're all over the place. The more we ask the testers, we pop it into patterns. We ask them questions that are the pre-questions, and 120 people will fill it out. So now I know that, and it's without being too squirrely and weird and asking them, too many questions. But over time, they answer a lot of stuff. During the test, we have proctors. If you want, please sign up to help us proctor these tests. We have different test types. We mess around with a whole bunch of stuff. There are like one-on-one, focus groups. We did a remote test because of our last Thanksgiving. We realized this was one of our mistakes. We're like, wait, all of these gift cards are going to expire. So that was a bummer. So we're like, yo, whatever. If you complete this test overnight, we'll give you a $20 gift card. And people are like, I'm down with that. So like, we gave away 80 freaking $20 gift cards for people to just fill out a form on the internet. They didn't have to get on a bus. Yeah, that's our incentive. We first started off, because when we first started off, it was before Ventra. It was a $20 gift card and bus fare, because it's fun. That's a funny thing to say. And then it got not funny, again, when Ventra came out. So it's $20 gift card and some candy. That's the official thing you get. Then post-test, we do deep analysis. When I say we, it's Sonia Marziano who joined us about a year ago and took over the CUTgroup. And we publish results for every test, all of the results. So we do analysis of it, and then we publish a spreadsheet with literally every answer to every form. We publish a document, a PDF, of our analysis. It ends up being sometimes a 50-page document that, counts up the frequencies and stuff like that, and then the raw data. And then we do, protect we have them do an avatar or something like some goofy name. And then we, make GitHub issues and get the things changed. We conducted 9 tests to date. It's a few more than that now. All this stuff's in the book. It's on the website. You can see all of them. This is one test site, the sites we've tested. Eat Safe. We did this with OI. They made this site. This was an amazing test at Kelly Library, I think. We learned an awful lot about it. Openstreetmap. That was fun. And, obviously a national website. They were like, hey, our editor's really hard. They knew they had some trouble. This was one example where it was less about community building and more about zeroing in and getting real data on basically it ended up being their sign-in process. And we gave them some really good actionable feedback. This was a big one for us. Foodborne Chicago is a product that we run with a bunch of developers. And this product we have, it just searches Twitter for tweets related. If someone says food poisoning on Twitter in Chicago, we collect that, do some stuff with it, figure out which ones we think are real, and then a human being from the health department gets in an admin tool that we made. Is like, hey, sorry you got sick. You can actually make a 311 service request for that. And then we send them with a unique ID in the URL string to a web form that goes to Open 311. We helped create the Open 311 system here in Chicago with Code for America. And we had a bunch of questions that we wanted to ask. This was funded by the Knight Foundation. It was up and running for a while. And what we found was that people tweeted about food poisoning in pretty equal rates across the city. People responded to our tweets to them in higher rates in the north side and lower rates in the south and west side. So we're like, well, that's a bummer. We don't want to do that. That's bad. Why? So we found out. We asked. That's the one where we mainly did in the south side, and we found common sense things that they're like, who the hell are you? What are you talking to me for? Quiet, because it's viewed as a private communications network for the people. And that makes a lot of sense. That's what I do when I tweet. I mean, what is a subtweet except something that you think other people are going to read? We changed the Twitter handle and logo. People wanted it to be more official, right? They wanted to be like, oh, okay, cool, you're from the city. Fine, I'll talk to you, right? So we changed the site. We made it look more official because we were like adamant about, we're not really the city, but it's like, whatever, you're the city, So we still told the truth, but, just with some interface things. They wanted to, the tweets, we got some good information on how to form the tweet. Sorry you're sick. You want some help? Official element. Yeah, we wanted to test it. So we specifically designed it to test this, right? Do you want to say that it's the city? Because I had a theory that they didn't, and I was wrong. So they wanted a stronger connection, so we made the stronger connection. Connect to people they know or in the circles. So our answer to that was we have to get in the game with them. We can't be random. So we are more active on Twitter and people. So we changed the tweet. We changed the URL from this goofy. We had a goofy bad URL, foodborne.smartchicagoapps.org. People were like, what the hell is that? Be more official. I talked about that. More about the process. We explained even more about how it would happen. And we're part of more networks. We follow more people. We do more block and tackle stuff before the vomit. It's a bummer because we were in the news, so it's hard to test whether or not the success came from that. But it got that's one of the it was in Mortality and Morbidity Weekly. There was a legit what do you call that, health thingy, someone did a study, and apparently led to more legitimate complaints of food poisoning. That's what I had. We're at the CUTgroup.org. I urge you, please, to sign up so we can give you $5. So go there at CUTgroup, and I urge you, if you're a developer, test your stuff. So I'm interested. We'll be here, obviously, for a while. If you what you think of this, if you're buying into it, if you want it to be different, if you want to sign up, if there's things about it you're not buying, you're skeptical of, we're here. So yeah, thanks. That's us at Smart Chicago. That's it. Thank you.
Do you want to do any questions? Do you want to take any questions, or just do it in a subgroup afterwards? Either way. Anybody have any questions about the presentation? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, great. Just out of curiosity, is the city or any of the other civic organizations around here open to having their apps tested? Like, the CTA had a terrible website for many years before they finally updated it.
The CPS?
All right, I was thinking of Metro, sorry.
Metro?
Like the city of Chicago, other...
CPS.edu, we're going to test that coming up. And the first test we did was for the city, which was actually an ordering and unboxing experience for a home internet tool, so we can test other things too. But yeah, they seem to be open. The cool thing is that, all you got to do... The cool thing about it is we can only work with people who fill out this form. And it's actually the beauty. It makes it a lot simpler for us. If you want to be in on this, if you're down, we're here. If you're not, that's all we can do. So, but yeah, they have been. They're all cool.
Can you explain the rationale for in-person physical testing versus just having a virtual world of testers?
It's the community engagement.
But you said people were coming from other communities. I was just wondering, how do you keep it to the I mean, are you in person, are you interviewing each other and talking, or?
There's a couple of ways. If we need to get a lot, it depends on the test design. If they really want it to be like an open-ended focus group, like I just want to know what people think, I want to talk to them myself, maybe we'll do 5 at a time in a meeting room that's separated. Mainly we try to schedule the timings so that we have enough proctors and it's one-on-one. You know, you're sitting there and you're proctoring. You're sitting next to them and, you know, they're doing the test, but you can be there and prompt. We try to prompt as little as possible. But then if they get to something really cool, then we'll say, can you go back to that? And then we videotape them and, you know, over their shoulder and say, and have what their experience is.
What's been the kind of the biggest source of new testers for you guys? Do you track that or keep tabs on where people are coming from?
We do.
Yeah.
In the initial, we did just Twitter, blah, blah, normal channels, and it was fine. And we knew that it would be fine. We knew that it would be skewed. So then we just did an analysis and found out where people weren't signing up, ward by ward. That's how we count. And then we went to the libraries and the public computer centers, because we do a ton of work with libraries and public computer centers in our access work. And we did flyering. We just paid people to do flyering. So, you know, active handing out of flyers. And we just drove that to the ground, just until we got an acceptable amount in every ward, which was like 5 or 10, I think was our goal. The other thing we did that was really effective, which is your question, there's 2 things that were really effective. One was we had an outfit that did, you know, you ever get those club emails? Like, where's the party? Right?
Oh,
And you get the, yeah, like, we had this place, they did club emails, and we had them, and they sent it a list of 3,000, it just blew up. And it was like, and we got it all the places we did that we were lacking, and it worked great. And then the last thing was forward to it.
You refer a friend.
Refer a friend.
Yeah.
Which is like, we told them that if you give us somebody, we'll give you a $5 gift card, up to 4 people, and then that blew up, because you know, and that works because that leads to more community because it's their friends, and you know, so those were the tactics that worked.
Cool. Thanks.
Cool. All right. Thanks again, Dan. Awesome.
All right, thank you.